Hello everybody, it's Dimitris again. This is the third session on the row, in the row, whatever. Anyways, a quick recap what we done so far in the two previous videos. In the first one we went through the Chrome's Lighthouse, and we figure out how to use that to expose any possible bottlenecks in Joomla or in any web page. Also, we had an introduction about critical CSS, how to extract the critical CSS and do that as an inline CSS. In the next video, that's session 2, we went through and created a new template called Awesome, which basically is just a copy-paste of Joomla's default template, Protostar. And we did some changes, and those changes basically we separated the head, the class head, to some more classes. So we have a way to control the meta tags, which we want them to be included inside the head. We also introduced a styles inline as a way to be able to do inline styling in a very easy way. And also we introduced another class named styles, which basically it was the most interesting of all those things that we did last time, because basically what we did there was we had one little JavaScript that actually takes the script tag, the style tags, and the style tags and the link tags that ref styles it from a no script tag, and creates the actual tags in the head. And this, because this is happening with JavaScript, this means that it's been executed after the first meaningful paint, or if you want to be more exact here, it happens after the page is actually loaded. And this is pretty good. We had a score of around 99, if I remember well. Right, but although we did this, we still didn't have any JavaScript, the actual JavaScript that the page requires for its own purposes, like the menu and drop-down buttons and stuff like that. So let's go and create that. But before I create that, I'm gonna create another file, because last time we forgot this one. And yeah, so let me recap here. So this is the usual head class, which extends a document renderer. This is just a copy paste from Joomla's libraries directory. So yeah, basically what we did is we break down this file to separate files, and we went all the way down to the styles. But yeah, I want to have also this part which generates the script options. Script options in Joomla is just another way so you can pass variables from PHP world to JavaScript. So instead of hard coding or doing other things with inline JavaScript, you just push some data with the add script option. So yeah, if we go, this is the get script, and this is the add script, which you set one key, which probably is gonna be the name of the view or something like that. Let's say module wrapper or whatever. Then you push the actual options, which needs to be an array, or you can push a string, but probably you want to push an array because having an array means that you can have multiple values in there. The merge is just an option that if you want to extend, that means if you call it next time and you want to just update, add another or more other variables to that can also happen. So once you do this, then the way that this will work on the client side is that by default this one includes the core.js file, which is this one, and in the core.js we have get options, I think. Yeah, so we have this Joomla Get Options, and and the Joomla Get Options, you just define what is the key. So in the example I gave earlier, it was module wrapper. So you just push, put there this module wrapper, and then if you want to have some like defaults, if for some reason something went wrong, and then actually you just get an object, and inside that object it will exist any variable that you send from the PHP world. Please use this. This is very interesting. And just for completeness here, if you don't like this, you can still do something which is also pretty okay. So if you have, let's say, let's go to one view. Let's say you have a view and you want to pass data from PHP to JavaScript. Don't do this thing, script blah blah and var echo whatever. Just don't do this. This is crap. Don't do this. So if you want to do it in a more up-to-date way, let's say you have a div or whatever element, you can have here a data does, let's say my does variable, right? And you do here the usual thing, PHP echo. Okay, I cannot type. PHP echo whatever, blah blah, right? And the way that this will work on the client side, on your script is that you should have like either a class or an ID. Better is to always use classes, don't use IDs unless if it's totally necessary or required for some reason. Classes do the same thing, and yeah, just to showcase how this will work in such a way. So let's say that you have a PHP part here, and you have document. Do we have document here? Yes, no? Okay, let's do it the other way. This is static. So you get the document, you add a script declaration, and inside this script declaration you have the actual script. So what's gonna be the actual script? So in this case you have a div with items leading. This is, let's say, this is the part that we want to focus. So how can you get this data out of this part? So all you do is, let's say you call a variable, let's say test or whatever, it doesn't matter, is equal to document dot query selector. You put a dot because dot denotes that this is a class, and then you press put a class name. Now if you do query selector, it will get you the first instance of this class that you getting. If you have more than that, you should always use all, query selector all, and even better do this slice dot call open parenthesis close parenthesis. This is because Internet Explorer and Microsoft Edge, those two browsers, do not support iteration with for each loop over nodes. So basically this is returning nodes, and nodes, although is a list node, but it's not the same as an array. So all we do is just transform the node list to an actual array. So you can do test dot for each function, blah blah. You get the idea. Anyway, so let's go back to the initial thing that I was going to show you here. So if you have the element that you are focusing, all you have to do then is, let's say, data, var data, is equal to test dot get attribute, and then the attribute is gonna be this. And this data is gonna be the data that you provided here. And this is the other way that you can pass nicely variables from the PHP world to the JavaScript without doing inline scripting and other very bad things. Right, so anyway, that was just because that was just to mention here. Right, so let's go back to our template and do the two things that we're missing here. So I'm just gonna copy paste the metas and say script options. Let's name this script script options.php. So we have the file, and then in this file all I wanna do is, I guess this. Right, we don't have the buffer. Okay, now we have the buffer. So do we have the buffer? Yes. Right, so we just created the script options. We have to name the class as we did last time. So script options renderer. We save this and we go to the template. We require the file, so it's gonna be, the class is gonna be included in the runtime of PHP, and then we just go here and say I want this, I want this to be here, and script options, that's how it's called. And if we run now the template, we have an error. Right, undefined variable, buffer, blah blah. Okay. So what was that? Script options 53. Script options 53. So it doesn't know what this is. It doesn't know what that is. And problem, yeah, okay. No. So let's have this as that, and then do this as that. Right. So what we did is we just added something more in the script here. Probably is empty. Okay, but anyway, we have a way to get the script options to our page. So that was the script options, and now let's go to the one that is more interesting, which is scripts. Right, so for the scripts I'm gonna go again to this one, which was the base for everything that we're doing here. I'm gonna paste everything. I'm gonna remove the custom tags because they're not JavaScript related, and then I'm gonna remove everything from there to here. This line can be removed. We triggered the event, the script options, etc., etc. So all this is not needed. So we name this as scripts, right? and we go back to the index HTML, and let's see first of all if everything is working. So we include the class in the runtime of PHP, and then we just call that so it will execute. So if we refresh and check the head, yes, all of our JavaScript, whatever is needed for this page, is in the head. But the problem is that we don't want it to be in the head, right? We want to do, actually what we want to do is this. Both for script tags and script options, actually what we want to do is that. And that will reflect that in the head we have only the meta tags, the inline script, and then this one is injected later on through our JavaScript that runs here. It's this one. So if we do this, the problem that we face here is that if we do this part here, if anybody adds a script tag anywhere in the body, either coming from the component or from some module or from some plugin, wherever, and for some reason there are the developer is really not caring about their code, and they're calling blindly Jquery. So instead of having, let's say, this document blah blah, they have a Jquery document.ready. That thing will throw. So somehow we have to figure out a way so the scripts should be in the bottom by default, but if for some reason we find that there is some script tag with Jquery in it, then we should fall back and render all these script tags in the head, so the page it won't be broken. Right. The problem right now is that I'm gonna explain it by doing some debugging here. So it's easier to see exactly how this is being done in Joomla. Okay, I'm already in the right line. So okay, let's run the page, and we get here. So what is here? Here is the first function that is called when we initialize the whole rendering sequence. So in the sequence, we first parse the template. What does it mean, parse the template? Is that we actually read the contents of this file, which is our template, right? So we parse this part, and we are looking for these particular things, the JDoc include module component message, and the things that we just created, style, script options, etc., etc. So what exactly is happening in the sequence is that we read that, and then if I go to that page, all right. So we read that, we search for all the JDoc include, we put them into an array, and then we do some check here if it's a module, blah blah, if it's modules, and at the end of the day we end up with two arrays. One is the template tags last, and the other one is the template tags first, so depending on if it's a module or modules. And yeah, and so yeah, if you see what template tags first is, if I can just figure out how to, right, these are all the modules. You see the module positions here, right? The footer, and in the footer it should be the module with the name and the style. So these are the first tags, and the tags last are probably the ones that we care, which is the metas, the style sheet, style, script, options, and scripts. There is a problem here, though, because in the next part, which is the render, what we do is we just replace its JDoc. Yeah, it's this. You see, this template tags is actually what this will be returned from here, what will be declared actually from here. So the final step will be the render. The final render step will be that we go through the array of the tags. We get them as JDoc and arguments, and then we just call the get buffer. The problem here is that this is procedural. This is very, very procedural. This is like WordPress at its best. And this thing, it's really bad for what we want to do, because unfortunately we cannot say do this here or do that there without some magic. So this cannot happen in the template alone. So what's the solution? So the solution will be that we're gonna move those lines in the head, because head is gonna be our fallback. And let me just remove this. And we're gonna create something more, because unfortunately we cannot do it just in the template. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy paste the Chef plugin from the system plugins, and I'm gonna name it Smart Scripts. Right, so we have the Smart Scripts. We have to also rename the two files here. So Smart Scripts is the one, and Smart Scripts is the other one. So basically, yeah, because this is gonna take time just to copy paste things, just I have it already. So you just go here and you say, well, what's gonna be the name of the plugin, blah blah. You define everything in the usual way that we did already in the first session, second session with the template. Nothing impressive. Also, the documentation in the Joomla site is pretty okay, so you can always go there. Right. Why did I choose the plugin system Ceph? Smart scripts. So I choose this plugin because actually it has something that I need. It has the event on after renderer. What this event even means, right? So let's see what this thing means. Right. So okay, let's go here. Joomla on after render. Okay, on after renderer. Right. So there is documentation. Joomla's plugin is event-driven system. That means that there are a lot of events that happen through the life cycle of the application. So when the application initializes, after the basic initialization of the application, there is an event called onAfterInitialize. When the routing is done, another event is fired, which is called onAfterRoute. There are many, but we care for this one, onAfterRender. This event is triggered after the framework has rendered the application. When this event is triggered, the output of the application is available in the response buffer. Right, so let's see how this is happening in the Ceph plugin. So in the Ceph plugin, first of all, we check if the client is sad. Okay, this is fine. I'm gonna add one more thing here. This app, no, I guess I'm gonna do, if not Jquery, get document, and then get type, I think, yeah, get type. If this is not equal to HTML, return. So also this is something that most people forget, that Joomla is not only rendering HTML pages. So if I didn't do that and I had the response, JSON response or whatever, this plugin actually will ruin everything. So always be careful if the context that you are running the plugin is actually what needs to be. So you cannot include some JavaScript if you are just returning JSON, right? JSON doesn't know JavaScript. Right, so here are the two parts that we are interested. And the parts here are we're getting the body and we are returning the body. We are just setting the body again. So okay, let's try and see this in action. So we have the plugin done, it's renamed. So how we install this? Right, so you go to extensions, manage, discover. If you look in, it will be better. And you see the plugin is here. So if I install it, it should install correctly, it installed correctly. And if I search here for smart, you see the plugin is here. There's nothing to actually control except from disable, enable, and the ordering, which we don't care. We don't mind if it's gonna be called first or last. It doesn't really matter. So we save this, and let me just, I have a break here, breakpoint here, so let me see what will happen. Right, so the plugin executed, so this means that we have a render page, although it's not transmitted already to the client, and that means that the client is site. That means that we have somebody asking from the what is called the front side of our website, and obviously the get type is HTML. I didn't ask for JSON. So this one is the line that will get us the body, and if I go to the next line, you see that now the buffer has something in it. What you see here, and it might be a little bit cryptic to try to figure out what this thing is, this is the actual HTML part that is gonna be delivered to the browser. So we have an option here to interfere and do something, so we get what we want to do. Right, so what's that gonna be? So it's not something ultra weird. So first of all, I'm gonna search for a body tag, right? So I'm getting the body tag, which is the buffer after the body. And I'm gonna do some, let me copy over all this because I already did that before. Right, so we're gonna get all the scripts that are not data allow. Right, so what is this data allow? If we go back to the styles that we had, by default we have one script here, right? The script that reads the no script tag with the class CSS lazy load. It parses the contents of it parses the contents of the no script, creates some div and puts it there as inner HTML, and then we get the array of the children of that div. And then we go and create, depending if it's a link or a style, the tag with all the needed types and attributes, or if it's a style with inner text of the style, the actual style contents. And then we append it in the document head. But if I don't have this data allow, that means that the plugin will fail because it will find a script tag, and I don't want it to fail because I want to have control of the script tags that I know they are okay to run in the actual document body. So if I know that I'm not using jQuery, I can go and I will show you how this can be happen to add this data allow attribute later on. So okay, we're getting all the script tags in the body tag, and then we say if the script tags is more than 0, then no, if it's 0, then go and render everything. No, so if it's 0, we will search for all the script tags in the head and put them in an array head, and then we gonna substitute the scripts. Right, so we're getting the scripts one by one from the head, and we're gonna put them into an array, remove them from the head, and then put them just before the closing body tag. And this should work. At least it was working before. Let's see. Right, so it's working. The scripts are in the document body. Yeah. So also the head doesn't have any script tags. So there is one thing here, as you see. If you actually want to do this with support for IE9 and those stupid things here that are only supported by Internet Explorer up to 10, which is comments, yeah, okay, conditionals inside comments, yeah. So if you want to actually support this, you have to also search for this particular stuff and make sure that the script, which is this one, the HTML fallback. So this HTML fallback actually should have been inside this this comment. But yeah, anyway, it's better not to include at all this thing, and I will show you how to remove it immediately from. So let's get edit as HTML, and I want this part. So what you can do very easily is on the script renderer, because you already have the scripts, you can just say unset this thing, not this thing, this thing. So hopefully if I run it again, we will not have, and yes, we don't have it here, and also in the head we don't have that stupid comment. Right, so recap here what we did so far. We created one system plugin, system, smart scripts. The plugin is firing on after renderer. We check and it will render only for the front side of our website and only for HTML pages. We're getting the body and we're doing our things here, which is just moving the tags from the head to the bottom. Obviously, this belongs to the other. And that's it. Basically, it's less than 100 lines, and we do what we want to do. So in the script, we have exactly the code that is used in Joomla. We just copy-paste it. Script options is exactly copy-paste of the same thing in Joomla. Right, so we have this. So let's go and do some interesting comparison here. So I'm gonna go disable this plugin, right? And I'm gonna go to the templates and say protostar is gonna be the default, and I'm gonna assign all the menus again to protostar, and then I say open this website. Okay, that's not good. And maybe for fairness, I will close debugger. Okay, refresh the page. So the page, as you see, is the same, either on protostar or in the template that we created. So we go again to the audits tab on the tools of Chrome. We set device as mobile. We set only performance, simulated 3G 4 times CPU slowdown, clear storage, and run the audit. Let's see what is the actual result. Right, we already knew it because we did this. So it's 140 for the contentful paint, 440 for the meaningful paint, almost 5 seconds for interactive. I'm gonna go and switch back to awesome, switch all the menus to awesome, and also go to the plugin and enable the smart plugin. And now I'm gonna say, let me visit this page. I'm gonna do an audit again. As you see, it's again desktop, performance, simulated 3G, 4 times CPU slowdown, clear storage. Let's run this audit. And there you have it. So first contentful paint is 770. First meaningful paint under 900 milliseconds. First CPU idle, this is interesting. It's 4 seconds, 4.1 seconds. And that's the time to interactive. Right, so why? The answer is simply because we are using Jquery. I didn't remove Jquery. So yeah, if we go here, you see that there is Jquery here. And there's nothing that you can do for that thing. Jquery is slow. You shouldn't use Jquery. End of story. Simple as that. But yeah, if you remove Jquery, I'm sure that this thing will drop to 1 second. And actually, because we can do it, although it's not something that I will recommend that you do on a live website. Let's go and do some unset, right? Because we can. So let me get this and then say unset this without this thing, and then say unset this. I'm just doing this just to prove how bad is nowadays jQuery. Right. We have this. Give me 1 second. So we need also this one. Right, so I've unset everything, but I want to do also one more thing. I want to make sure that it doesn't break. Right, so if we refresh the page, I forgot this one. Okay. What? Come on. Right, so yeah, obviously we don't have all these stupid scripts, so you see that the time to interactive is 4.1 second, and that's exactly the same time for first CPU idle. Okay, let's clear this. You see it's again the same. I'm not changing anything here, and we're gonna just do an audit again. See what's the change. Yeah, it's something is not good. It should be under 1 second. I'm pretty sure it should be under 1 second. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Why? Yeah, anyway, for some reason something is messed up here. But yeah, anyway, you get the idea that even from 4 seconds we go to 2 seconds, but this will be less than 1 second. So probably I did something. Right, so actually you cannot do this because you will break your site. So don't even think about removing jQuery like that. You should be doing that. So what is the right? So let's go and see how is the actual good way to doing things with the JavaScript. So you see here that we have this system.js caption blah blah, right? If you want to remove that, you shouldn't go to the template and the renderers. What you should be doing actually is what you should only doing with Joomla, and that is messing around with the overrides. So you see there is a JHTML behavior caption here. So if I remove this and refresh the page, take a look here, there is this thing, media system JS caption, right? I'm refreshing and that thing is gone. So this is how you actually remove things correctly. You create overrides for whatever you possibly need, and that's how you do it. Now, one disclaimer here about that thing that I showed you with the JavaScript. So, first of all, why we had to do all that plugin implementation at the first place. So, I'm gonna go to GitHub. Yeah, okay. Give me 1 second. Right, so I'm gonna show you the exact reason why we had to do it through a plugin. So this is a very good developer, Rene. A few days ago he created one very nice cookie banner. For people that are building websites for European Union, they know that there should be a banner. This site is using cookies. Do you consent and stuff like that? Yeah, nothing. So it's a very nice plugin, right? The only problem is that if we go to the commits, where are the commits? Right. If we go to the initial release, I'm gonna show you some really bad things here. So he was including a version of Jquery with document add script. This is a no, never. You should be doing this. Because the thing is that Joomla already has a defined way, an API. That's what API means, application. What's API stands for? Application Programming Interface. So yeah, so once there is an API to do something, you should follow the API. So the one part was that. The other part is that is doing this part that I'm telling you that is a no-go. So instead of using this document add script and adding the word declaration here and pushing all this part through the API, is including a script as inline, so nobody knows that this page actually has inline script. And the other bad thing is that the first line is jQuery document ready. So this is the reason exactly why I had to do the plugin, because you never know what a developer is doing. Most developers, to be honest, are not following the Joomla API. They're doing things like that because it's quite easy or whatever. But yeah, the idea is that this code will break the website day one. But actually, if we just run this, and yeah, maybe this is a very good way to just test this. So let's go and install this plugin. I guess we go to install, and then yes, and then we just drag and drop that thing here, and that is already done. So how we can do this is, okay, what's broken here? We go to modules. There is already one module here. Yeah, it's in Dutch. Sorry. On all pages, and let's get a footer position, save and close, and hopefully if we, yes, this is the module. And as you see, there are 0 console errors. There is a console error for June. Yeah, this is normal. And actually that thing is working. Yeah. So, and that thing is working, and the thing is that that thing didn't even actually called for leaving the scripts in the head. So good thing. Right, so what we did so far is that we dropped this time to under a second. This time is a little bit better, but not much, because this is totally depending on jQuery. Sorry, if you want to invest time and remove jQuery on the layouts that you care for, you're more than welcome to do so, and have this time down to very little, like 1-2 seconds maximum. Yeah, but the idea is that we went from this thing to this thing, which is from 61, 69 to 100. So Google is happy, we are happy, everybody's happy. Right, few things here, because there are many things that I left out. So images are very important, and also are very, very, very problematic for any CMS. So on the next session, we're gonna take something that I've already did some time ago, and I published this, so let me just find it. Right. So we will get this plugin, and actually we will modify this plugin to not be responsible only for images, but also for any tag that has source, like audio, video, images, and yeah, a few more that I might be missing right now. So why do I want to do this? There is one very, very interesting thing with all the tags that have a source. most of the times that source is immediately invoking a fetch. What does this mean? Right. So whenever, let me explain it here. So you have the sources. Let's see what's the source here. So this is what actually the Joomla is sending to Chrome, to Google Chrome, right? It's just a bunch of HTML. And this is exactly, and the only thing that is the response of Joomla. So whenever the browser is seeing this source equals, it says, oh, you have a source, let me get it. And the problem is that you might not want all of them to be fetched immediately. Like already you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fetches, and then you have also the fetches for the style set. Yeah, we don't have style sets, but you already have like six fetches that will be initialized immediately. So this is something that you don't want to be happening. So you might want to have a better control of that. How that can happen? It's a very easy way is to have something like, instead of source, you can have a data dash source. So the data.source is not invoking a fetch, thankfully. And then you can have an event on a little script which says, on document load, when everything is done, you fetched you done the rendering, the initial rendering. Go and find all the scripts with data source and rename the data source to source. Right, it shouldn't be that bad or that hard to do. And then once these are switched from data source to source, then the browser will initialize all the fetches. But that will happen once the page is already loaded. And also the thing is that modern JavaScript has some more good stuff to play with, especially for images, audio, and stuff like that. It's called intersection observer. Let me just... So what is intersection observer is an API. It's supported on most modern browsers, not on Internet Explorer. Yeah, what surprise. But yeah, everything else is supported. Chrome, Edge, Firefox, Opera, Safari. Everything is supported except Internet Explorer. So for this one that is not supported, there is also one polyfill. But yeah, let me explain a little bit what this API, which is built into the browser, so we don't have to do a lot. So you set up for an element or many elements or whatever an intersection observer, and depending on if that is in the viewport of the browser, that means if there is, let's say, this tag, this one, if right now it's not in the viewport. Now it's in the viewport. So intersection observer is just a way to tell us, yeah, this one is in the viewport or this one is out of the viewport. And this is a great way to control when things can be done. So it's the best way that you can do lazy loading, basically for images, audio, video, and all this stuff that are pretty heavy. So one thing is this, and the other thing is that there is, so yeah, where's the console? Yeah. So you see the intersection observer is a function built into Chrome. You don't have to do many things. It's just call it and that's it. One more interesting part, and that will be the last one for today, is that there is this navigator, and the navigator has a connection, and the connection has a downlink, and this is my downlink. This is my actual speed, and this is my downlink max, which is infinity. I can download, yeah, I have pretty good, and maybe, yeah. So basically with this, what you can do is, depending on the downlink, you can figure out if it's a 3G, this is 10 megabytes. If it's 3G, I cannot simulate it right now because it will break. Or maybe it will not break. Let me see if this will work that way. Yeah, right. So you see I set slow 3G here, and now the console gives me 0.4 megabytes. So you can check this if, let's say, if you have a video, which video needs a lot of bandwidth, etc., etc. You can check the navigator connection downlink and see if the client has a fast line or whatever, and then actually provide a video or provide a better quality video, or if it's on 3G like this example, just say, hey dude, sorry, this is here's an image. Whenever you go to a better connectivity, a better connection, yeah, come back. So yeah, this is just a teaser for the next one. And one more thing, we haven't touched at all anything for the fonts, which are also extremely important for designing websites. Actually, both of the Protostar and our other template are not using any font. They're using the default font. Right. So that will be, I guess, the session after the images and videos and all of that. Right. So that's it for today. Join me next Monday to do some crazy lazy loading of all the assets like images, videos, and audios. Till then, have fun and see you next time.